morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. It's really unusual for us to do Thursday episodes sometimes, but as manufacturing is unpredictable, DeNae Krzyzanowski from Master Machinery Repair had some things come up, so I'm really glad that you were able to reschedule with us and join us today on a Thursday. So, DeNae, thank you for coming to Mavens of Manufacturing. Welcome to the show.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Megan.
So to start off our conversation, can you just provide a little background information about yourself and maybe what Master Machine and Repair is and some of the products and services that you provide within manufacturing?
Yeah, sure. So Master Machine and Repair was started 22 years ago. Started by my father and two other partners. And these two other partners were people that he was working with at a previous employer at the time. And I think they started Master Machine because they really saw a need in the industry to keep their customers' equipment running. So they would service all different manufacturers and different people that make things, and we would need to keep them up and running. So equipment breaks, and Master Machine kind of comes in as like the problem solvers. So we'll come into the facility, we will take a look at the equipment, see what went wrong. We will then take that equipment back to our facility. We'll break it down to like every nut, bolt, and bearing, and we'll repair it, we'll rebuild it, we'll overhaul it. But also what I think is really cool is that we also take a look at like why things failed, why things went wrong. So we'll kind of take a look at how can we improve things? How can we maybe make this stronger? We'll suggest like different design changes that we can do to help prevent these failures again in the future. We have the ability to reverse engineer in-house, which is really cool. And then aside from the rebuild, we have the machine shop side that supports all of the rebuilds. So as we need to make new parts for these rebuilds, or if we need to make spare parts, or we even, machine parts and do machine work for customers as well. So I think all of this is like a unique process, and like Master Machine is not making a widget, we're not making a product, we're not like repeating a process over and over again. So this requires our crew to have a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience. So I think to this day is still our most valuable asset is our crew and the great knowledge that they have. And that's what makes us stand out from the crowd, makes us unique. And I think our customers like depend upon that knowledge, and also they have to trust the quality of our work.
So with the machine repair side of things, what are most of the machines that you look into? Are they CNC machines? Are they a variety of things? Is there one particular machine over another that you focus on? Like what machines do you repair?
Yeah, so we cover all different kinds of industries. So there's nothing really that we focus on. So anything mechanical, really. So we'll rebuild entire lines that say make plastic cups or plastic packaging, or we will rebuild a line that makes plastic drums, or a mixer that mixes gum for Wrigley, or you name it. We service all different industries: food, pharmaceutical, plastic industry, garbage disposal, like you name it.
So you mentioned earlier that your dad bought the company or started the company with two other people. How did you fit in the equation? Was it something that was manufacturing and engineering something that you were always interested in growing up? Was it something that you and dad shared a bond over with? Like, how did you get involved with manufacturing and involved with Master Machine?
Yeah, so actually when I started my career, I kind of started down a different pathway. I started in a totally different field, which was interior design. I think my father probably always had it in the back of his mind that like one day I would come join Master Machine, kind of carry the torch forward and carry on what he started. But I think he was also very careful not to share that with me. I think he wanted me to start my own career, build something for myself, kind of like get some real world experience under my belt. And I really appreciated this. So that's what I did. So
It's really interesting because I've talked to so many women already, and there is a trend that I'm seeing where daughters are coming into the manufacturing companies and they're, taking over. They're succeeding the business after their parents either retire or don't want anything to do with it. And a lot of them are, in their early 30s, mid 30s, and it's just really exciting to see this new wave of, younger manufacturers, specifically women, taking over these leadership roles. So how has that been? Because you're vice president of Master Machine right now. How has that experience been as a woman leader in manufacturing?
Yeah, I mean, so like I mentioned, I started in interior design, pursued that career. And while I was working in design, I decided to get my master's degree in entrepreneurship. I think I was very inspired by watching my dad start the business, and always kind of had in my back of my mind that I wanted to start my own, whether that be a design firm or like as a kid, I used to like make and sell products and stuff. So that was always something that was like ingrained in me. And then I found myself in my career 6 years later, and I was kind of burnt out. I was working very long hours, and I had a salary that didn't really square up with what I was putting in. So I just found myself burnt out. And so that's kind of how I joined the company. My dad informed me that he had a position opening in purchasing, and I thought about it and I took the opportunity. So yeah, I jumped in, and to your point, yeah, it was very different. It was a transition for me for sure, but I was actually surprised by the skills that I had gained working as a designer that transferred over to manufacturing. Like for example, in design, I would work all day in AutoCAD because I'd be designing things, but then I would be putting together these construction details of how is this going to get built then in the field. And so coming into Master Machine, I then had the ability, I could pick up a print, I could picture that part in 3D, I could understand what we were doing to it. And so that was something that transferred. I think also project management skills I had some negotiating skills. So like a lot of soft skills that you would think would not transfer actually do. And then, yeah, to kind of gain the knowledge of manufacturing the company and to fill in the gaps, it was kind of like a hands-on approach and experience. So basically, I just worked myself through different positions. So purchasing taught me a lot about metals, different materials, different processes, how you can alter those materials. And then I moved on from that position. I did administrative work. I would enter the time tickets, I'd type up the quotes, I would open up jobs, I'd check our general email box, which was kind of cool because our customers, were calling in and writing in, asking questions, asking for like project status updates. And by doing that, that kind of connected me with the shop because I'm communicating back and forth between the customer and the shop. So I'm kind of learning like what the customer is looking for, what they need, all that good stuff. And I think that kind of led me to like project managing a little bit because I would notice certain projects that might need like a little extra attention, maybe needs a little bit more management involved. So I would kind of take those projects under my wing and I would project manage for them. I worked myself through the accounts receivable and payable roles so I could learn company's finances and how all that worked. And my dad even had me run a couple small CNC machines for a couple months. So I think that's awesome. Yeah. And, I like that because it kind of helped me get an idea of what does it feel like to be on the shop floor and get that perspective.
Well, and I think too, because you're in the machine repair business, working on the machines and understanding how they move and operate is pretty helpful trying to figure out those solutions. So when a machine does go down, you might have a better understanding of why it's not working versus, if someone just coming in and not really knowing what CNC machining is and trying to fix it that way. So I think that was a really good strategy on your dad's part. And you're bringing up so many good points and opportunities within manufacturing that I think is one of the main challenges as a hole in the sector that companies are struggling with. We have all these positions that are available and open for hire. Now you see hire signs all over the place. And a lot of the younger generations just don't understand or realize the different opportunities within manufacturing. And I think it's great that you started, at the basic level and then you kept working your way up. So I'm kind of curious to know what has been your most favorite moment within manufacturing during that journey from, starting out at the basic level and then working your way up to the VP position.
I mean, I don't know if there's a favorite moment. I mean, there's something I think beautiful about like understanding everything, like, because with understanding, I think comes confidence. Like you kind of know more what you're talking about. You understand what different people are doing. And so I think that's the beauty of it. I really enjoyed being my dad's right hand for a while because I could kind of learn like how he thinks and how he runs things and kind of get that perspective too. But I would say maybe my favorite is just working with my dad, and building something with him.
That's really cool. I have a much different experience working with my dad. He's been in manufacturing his entire life, and there's a machine cutting tool in our community that he was president of sales for the longest time for the North American area. When I needed a job during college, I worked on the machine shop in the packaging department. It was really fun and cool, and getting to know everybody on the shop. But being his daughter in that particular environment was not really fun because a lot of people thought he was going to like favor me or whatever. But he was actually the hardest on me out of everybody because he's like, I don't want people to think that I'm cutting you any, shortcuts. He's like, if something's messed up and it's coming from the shipping department, I'm going to point to you. And I'm like, but if I didn't even handle it, like, that's not fair.
Right.
So that's really cool that you have such a strong relationship with your dad and you guys are able to work in a fun way together.
But I think I had some of that too, though. Like, definitely coming in here, I didn't step into the VP role. When I stepped in, my dad still had a partner. So, I think at some times maybe he did, he was maybe like a little bit harder on me than he was on other people because he didn't want people to see that he's like favoring me or something.
Yeah.
So he kind of put me through the test,
That's really cool. So, and I'm sure you're aware of this, that there is this misconception that manufacturing is this dirty, dark, dull, dangerous place. And you will have that in some machine shops. It's a given. Like you're going to be getting greasy and dirty, especially when working with different parts that make things move. It's just part of the job. To people who have that ingrained in their mind, and that's preventing them from pursuing manufacturing, what is some advice that you can offer them to change their mind?
Yeah, I mean, I think manufacturing does have that old image of being dark and dirty and dull and kind of like unfavorable conditions. But I think that has changed a lot. I mean, technology is improving rapidly. The landscape is changing. So, I mean, safety has improved a ton because we have better training, we have safer equipment. The work itself is getting more sophisticated. So that requires highly skilled labor. And with highly skilled labor comes good pay and benefits. And I think that's something that people don't necessarily always think about or realize when they look at a career in manufacturing. I think people are kind of trained to that, like you go to college and you get that office job and that's what you do. But there's very good opportunities in manufacturing. And sometimes you can even make a better pay than some white collar jobs. So I would say it's something that it shouldn't be overlooked. But yeah, sometimes it is dirty and sometimes it does require a little bit of grit. But I think there's something really cool about that too. Like I personally enjoy breaking down barriers. I enjoy being that woman who like kind of proves that you can do it and that you can kind of thrive in it. So I think there's something really cool about that too.
So in terms of what's coming next, what are some of the things that you are excited about with Master Machine in terms of either advancements in technology, things that you're adding to your strategy, things that you might be reconsidering? Like what are some of the new things that you are preparing for and really excited about?
Yeah, so I've been with the company about 5 years now, and we have grown a lot in those 5 years that since I started here. So I think that, let me find my notes. So I rely on this. Yeah. So yeah, what I wanted to mention is like one of the first things I noticed when I came in here is that our technology was outdated. So like my dad and his partners did a really good job of like building this company, knowing their customers, knowing what they needed, how to grow. And they did a really good job with that. But I came in and we had like, at that time, I think we were like a 40-person company, and we had emails with the domain name at ameritech.net or at Yahoo or AOL. I'm like, no, we got to change this. So I think that's like the first impact I was able to have on the company, is kind of like bringing it to the 21st century. We didn't have like a centralized location of like all of our vendor contacts. So I digitalized that. We had a server, but no one was really using it. They were just saving on their desktop. So we created, all those resources on the server and kind of train people to use that. But since then, my father and I have been growing the company. The one partner that was here when I started, he has since retired. So now it's my father and I. And I think our strategy for growth is like, we really just look at, okay, here's what we do well. This is our core competency, is keeping industry running, being those problem solvers, keeping rebuilding equipment and repairing. And so we're looking for ways to grow that can kind of support that core competency. So 3 years ago, we had the opportunity to buy a grind shop, and they were located in Melrose Park. So we purchased them. We brought all their machines in-house. We brought their employees under our roof, and we started operating here. And so we were in the past sending out grinding work. So this was something that we could bring in-house. You get a better finish with grinding from machine. There's certain applications where it makes more sense to grind. So it can help us with our existing projects, but it can also offer and bring in new business. So we did that. And after we brought them in our facility here in Bedford Park, we ran out of space. So, so we were operating in like 60,000 square feet, and we had the opportunity to buy another 2 buildings, and we were very lucky because they're connected to our existing buildings. So we have like one complex here. So we doubled our square footage, and that was probably about 2 years ago. So
that's awesome. Congratulations on the expansion. That's exciting news, especially like when we were right in the midst of a pandemic and people were, facing challenges with that. That's amazing that you were able to find that growth and be able to expand instead of have to, get rid of some things or cut back on some things.
Yeah. I mean, it was an opportunity we really couldn't turn down, because to have 2 buildings that are connected to yours, like, when else are you going to have that opportunity? So yeah, we did that, and then we had more space and we had more room to grow. So we're still growing. So about 2 years ago, we started a gear shop. And
nice.
Yeah. So we at Master Machine, we rebuild a lot of gearboxes. We always have. So we tear them down. We need to replace broken gears, replace different shafts and things. So the gears was something we always had to outsource. Well, 2 years ago, there was 2 local companies located here, and there was a company in Pennsylvania that was purchasing them. And so the company purchased them. They took all the machines back to Pennsylvania, but they found that the employees didn't want to move. So we took the employees, we bought machines, and now we're doing it all in-house. So,
nice.
So yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's
so. With all of this expansion, it brings me back to when I first met you, which was at the Valley. I'm going to mess up the acronym. Valley Industrial Association event.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's too many acronyms in manufacturing engineering. We need to work on that. But the keynote speaker was Marty Constant, and she was talking about mentorship. And one of the missions that I have for Mavens of Manufacturing is actually providing a platform where companies can set themselves up as mentors for, anybody in their local community so that we can actually start closing that skills gap. And I was just curious to know, is Master Machine, involved with your local community? Are you doing any sort of like partnerships with your local colleges or high schools? Like how are you spreading the word of manufacturing to get younger generations excited about it?
That's not something we've dabbled in a ton, but we are realizing that that's something we need to do. So actually right now we are just in the process of starting to reach out to different colleges and kind of see, like, who do you have to offer? Are there people we can bring in here? So we're starting to touch that tip of that iceberg.
Nice. And then is there any available positions at Master Machine that you are having a hard time filling? And if so, what are those positions? Because I want to make sure to get that out there as well too. So if someone is listening in today and they have someone that could be a potential candidate, they can reach out to you and you can help fill that position.
For sure. We need CNC machinists. We need mechanics. We can take welders. We are always looking for engineers, kind of across the board. But we haven't done any like official like mentorship program with a school or anything, but we have had cases where, you cannot find people with the skills for these positions. So we've hired people that didn't have the skills, but they had very good soft skills. And so we've turned them into, say, a mechanic or a CNC machinist. And so it's kind of like an unofficial apprenticeship program in a sense.
I think that's really helpful too, and just great because a lot of students that I've talked to who are doing either like some sort of vocational school or if they've gone to a 4-year college and then they graduate and they're off into the real world, they freeze up in a way where they don't necessarily know where to go, who to talk to, and how to get involved with that. So I'm hoping with this episode and other episodes of Mavens, we can create those connections with students and manufacturers within different communities so that they're comfortable enough to, hey, I need help, or hey, I'm looking to get into this. What sort of training or opportunities of learning can you provide so that I can improve my skill set? So I think that's great that you're offering that. As my final question, as we're closing up on time here, I wanted to ask you, what sort of advice would you give to younger generations who are not quite sure what they want to do once they got out of high school, or who may look at manufacturing and engineering in a negative way? What sort of value has manufacturing provided you that you think it could provide other people considering the sector?
Yeah, so I think that kids are not really being exposed to manufacturing enough, so they don't really know what it is. And I think people don't realize like how many different opportunities there are within it, like how many different career opportunities there are. Like I said, we need engineers, we need marketers, and all these things. So I think manufacturing can offer a very stable career with good pay, good benefits. It's also very exciting. I'm never bored here. Things are always changing. There's always different problems to solve. And I think it's also really cool because it's very hands-on. Like you get to see something come to life, something that you either like worked on with the customer, or maybe you're the engineer that designed it, or maybe you're the machinist that made the parts that went into this thing. But whatever you contributed to it, you get to see this thing come to life on our shop floor. So I think that sitting behind a desk is not necessarily for everyone. And so if you are more hands-on and you want to like get involved and see things come to life, then this is the place for you.
Awesome. Was there anything else, DeNae, that you would like to add to our conversation before I let you go?
I think just like if you're considering it, I'd say go for it, jump in, take a look and see what we have to offer. If anyone has any questions, I'm open to answering any questions that anyone has. If you want to like post my email or whatever, and yeah, happy to be a mentor.
And for those who want to learn more about Master Machine and Repair, can you shout out your website so that they can look you up if they have any questions about your products and your services?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find us at mastermachinerepair.com. And if you want to shoot me an email, my email's DeNaeK@mastermachinerepair.com.
Great. Well, thank you everyone for joining us on this Thursday afternoon. I appreciate your flexibility, DeNae. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Be sure to check her out on LinkedIn. Check out Master Machine and Repair. They have a really cool website. And we have another episode tomorrow with Allison Giddens of Wintech. Have a great Thursday, everyone. Enjoy your day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
This episode of Mavens of Manufacturing has been sponsored by Z-Ink Solutions. Z-Ink Solutions. This isn't your grandmother's copywriting service. We provide copywriting and copy editing services that provide impactful text and memorable storytelling for a variety of brands and industries. Contact us today at zincssolutions.com. That's z-inksolutions.com.